That looked amazing. Wow, it was so fun. It was so good. I saw things that I'd never seen before. I don't know about you guys, but it was great.
Hello, yeah, here we go.
Woo! Yeah!
All right, so Meredith, you got
Yes,
microphones?
hello. And Garrett has a microphone.
Garrett?
Garrett!
Garrett, you take this side, I'll go on the other side.
So this is casual, gang, so if you guys got, just raise your hand if you got a question. We'll pass the mic over to you guys so everybody can hear.
I'm curious to the first time you saw the film. Anybody here or everybody really?
First time ever seeing it. Wow, awesome. One thing, when we were watching it, there were items that Malek, you have never seen before, that you noticed.
Yeah.
Like for me too, it was Brackett with the pipe.
Brackett
I've never
had a
seen
pipe.
the Brackett was smoking a pipe when you saw Lori. That's just too cool to kind of see things for the first time in the scope.
Yeah, and the print looked great. It's really fun.
All right, questions? Yeah.
All right. Hi, Mr. Aiello, Mr. Akkad.
Hello.
So, all right. So, before I get to the question, I just want to say thank you so much to you, Aiello, the team at Universal, and to you, Mr. Akkad, for bringing Halloween to life. Halloween Horror Nights.
All these guys.
We're all very, very proud of the maze. Everybody's done a great job with it, and to bring that thing to life and surround our guests in that brand is too cool.
Yeah, it's been a dream of mine. Like, for so many years, I've been wanting Halloween at HHN.
Yeah, we have too. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, man, when are they gonna bring it? Because they brought Freddy, Jason, Leatherface. I mean, and they finally brought it, so this is great.
Oh, man, what's your question?
All right, so the question is. All right, it's to
I appreciate all that. Yes.
Yeah. All right, so the question's for Mr. Akkad.
Malek is fine.
Okay, Mr. Malek. So the question is, many fans, including myself, are wondering if you would ever go back to the original franchise and make a sequel to Halloween Resurrection, because it's been up, like the storyline was left up in the air. So like we're just wondering, like what's next for Michael Myers. So,
well, I've learned to never say never with this, but you know, basically the first 8 I think kind of stand on their own, and I think now that we've started fresh, I think there's opportunities for new storylines and new things, and we're working on a script as we speak. So hopefully next fall we will have a new installment. Yeah. And I definitely think it's going to be a really fun one that the fans are going to really enjoy.
Yeah.
I can't really say much more about it than that right now.
all right, thank you.
Who has the next question? No question? Oh, okay, I'm going to get this young lady in the pink shirt.
All right.
Hello there. Everything he said, but I'm going to get right to my question.
Okay.
Is the mask that he wore, is that William Shatner's face?
It is.
That's what I thought, okay.
It was a William Shatner mask that they, you know, it was obviously a very low budget film, and they actually had a couple choices that they showed the director. One was a weird clown mask, and I don't know what the third one was, and they took the Captain Kirk mask and they painted it white, and they came out of the trailer with it, and they just said, that's it. And that's the history was born there.
William Shatner is horrifying. Next question.
Okay, this is for you, Michael. We were wondering if you would possibly do Smog for us, actually. Please.
Let me provide some context to Malek. In the Bill and Ted show this year, there's a bit in the show where the dragon from Hobbit, Smog, he has a bit in the show, and I provide the voice of the dragon for the show.
I want to hear it.
Okay, all right.
Hey y'all, I'm Smog!
I sound just like Benedict Cumberbatch. I know.
Puppet dying! Oh no, I'm dying, y'all! I'm puppet
It's very different when you're in front of people doing that, not with an audio thing. It's very different.
We have our next question right over here.
Good question.
Hi, thank you. This was my first time seeing the movie ever, so it was awesome to be with you guys. I have a question. I saw a tweet on HHN. It says, more meetings today on a future horror movie we're considering for HHN 2015. Already reading scripts, pulling stills. Does that have anything to do with why he's here today, or nothing at all?
No, and I wasn't in a meeting today, so I don't know what that means. It's Saturday.
She knows more than you.
Yeah. That's probably Hollywood Park. I bet that's at Horror Nights.
Oh.
Yeah, that's probably John Murdy.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. That is okay. For future reference, we are at Horror Nights ORL. That's us. But good question.
Thank you.
Good job.
Charles, were you in a meeting today?
No.
No, I wasn't either.
Okay, we have our next question right here.
All right.
And by the way, this gentleman was actually part of our HHN Dare last year with Havoc.
Oh, no. Oh, that's right.
And he shaved his head and eyebrows.
I didn't recognize you because you had eyebrows and hair.
Yes. So this is Aaron, who was part of our HHN Dare last
All
year.
right, man.
Well, thank you for hosting this screening today and the opportunity. But this question is for Malek. I've seen differences between the Halloween films of John Carpenter's version and Rob Zombie's version. Basically, the two Rob Zombie films are kind of combined in your version. But what is your interpretation and reaction to the Rob Zombie version? Does it live up to the hype, or does it kind of like a disgrace to the Halloween John Carpenter version?
Yeah, well, when we did that, of course, I knew a lot of people would be saying it's sacrilege to touch the classic. And, you know, I felt like it was a good time to readdress it. We were actually working on a 9, and when you get to number 9, you've got so many unanswered storylines, and plot. It gets so convoluted. What happened to that cousin and this doctor and that, and we really couldn't crack it with the script, and I just felt the time was right. And Rob Zombie is an amazingly creative, gifted guy, whether you like his work or not, super creative, hardworking guy. And when I met with Rob, the intention was not to make something that's comparable to John Carpenter's. John Carpenter's is the classic, it will always be. And that's how fun this was. It's still 36 years old, and we're enjoying it so much still today. So when we did the remake, the idea was really to make something that stood alone, that was very much Rob and our vision, and to do something different. And I am really still very proud of the remake. I like it very much. I think it holds up very well. Second one, you know, maybe not quite as much, but the fortunate thing about this series is there's the high points and some not so high points, but it keeps rolling, and hopefully we keep making things that the fans are going to enjoy.
Thank you.
And that Rob Zombie's film is a product of the time as well. It's created to key into the demographic that's watching it that day. You know, you're watching this movie going, the car was right across the street, and he just happened to walk up when the kids run out. So, as these films evolve and you do tackle a remake, you have to bring something new to it, and that's exactly what happened.
I mean, this is '78, and I don't know if you know, they shot it in LA, where I'm from, and there's like no cars on the street. That doesn't happen now. I mean, you can't find a parking space in LA now, and it's amazing to look at 1978 LA. It's really cool.
Who next?
Hi, Mike. Hi, Malek.
Hello.
Question, kind of, I don't know. First question for either of you. What goes into building one of these mazes at Horror Nights?
Yeah, no, a lot. A lot goes into it. It is it starts off as a very small team. It's myself, it's Charles, it's a few other people around a table trying to come up with, how are we going to, when we're talking about a brand, first, is it translatable into a haunted maze? That's the first thing, first step. And obviously, yes, Halloween definitely translates into a haunted attraction. And it's watching the movie, and the film was the Bible, and trying to key into things that we've learned over the 24 years of doing this event. American Werewolf was one kind of touchstone we knew we wanted to apply to Halloween, because American Werewolf was linear storytelling. You started in the first scene, you ended with the last. Yep. And some mazes don't do that. Some mazes it's more of a hodgepodge of environments and characters. But for this and how we tackled Halloween was definitely treating it as a linear storyline. We want to begin with young Meyers. We want to end with Loomis firing the 6 shots. And it was just about that. The film's the Bible. I mean, we're huge fans of that film. And it was just about making sure that we're doing it justice. I mean, because there's a heavy weight there when trying to translate something that you love so much, and you want people to, when they experience it, to just love it as much as you do. And like I said, there's a selfish quality too, where we just really wanted to see a Halloween maze.
And just second question, Malek, how much did you have to do with the building of the particular maze?
Nothing. They kept us informed, but it's all these guys, and I've been through the maze. I think it's amazing, and it's all due credit to Mike and his team. You got great job.
Okay, we have the next question up here.
Hi. I just want to say I love you guys so much. Thank you. And do you think that Michael Myers is a boxers or brief kind of guy?
Boxers or brief?
78 Michael, briefs.
Stuck in briefs.
2007 Michael, boxers.
All right, we have another question here.
Hi, Mike and Malek. First of all, I want to say that I was 8 years old when I first saw this movie in the theater. When my older cousins took me, my mom never found out. But I just want to say for Malek, would you ever bring Jamie Lee Curtis back?
Oh God, I would love to. I love working with Jamie Lee Curtis. She's just a doll. I love her in every way, and working with her is such a pleasure. We did Resurrection with her, and actually we were on set, and it was the day we were doing her killing scene, and I went up to her and I said, Jamie, let's not make this permanent. You can just kind of fall away, and we don't know, and you can come back. And she said, Malek, this is the 4th I'm doing and the last I'm doing. However, you can never say never, so I would love to, yes, but you never know.
I'm awesome. And Mike, I just have a question for you. Would you ever consider doing a maze where we would choose, like there would be 2 choices to go, and depending on what you choose, you were either live or die, something like that?
Like killing people?
Yeah!
Sure. Yeah. Charles, what do you think? No, you mean like allowing the guests to experience multiple paths and things like that?
Correct.
Sure. Yes, absolutely, we consider that. Yeah.
I think that'd be so cool.
It would be really cool.
Thank you. We have our next question right up here.
Hi guys, big fan of the movie, love it. It was great. Question for Mike. Was there anything in the house that you wanted to add but it just wouldn't work out from the movie, from the original movie? Any scenes from the original movie you wanted to put into the house but it just wouldn't work out?
Charles, and keep me honest here. I think the PJ Souls killing was a little more expanded when we started, and then as the layout of the maze was progressing, we knew we needed bigger spaces on either side of that, and that's why it became that little alcove instead. Yeah, I mean, if you go through the maze, have you been through it yet?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. Pretty much everything's there.
Best house.
Thank you. We really appreciate that. No, I think it was more just logistics. It's, knowing that Hollywood did the maze as well, they did it several years ago, and kind of learning from that, seeing some things that they did. Obviously, some key points that Charles and I wanted to kind of figure out how we could key into. The one thing that we did differently than Hollywood is the garage with the car. That's actually the first time I think we've ever had a vehicle inside our tent, and we had to make sure it was in a very specific spot so it wouldn't fall through the floor of the tent. But that car is completely a skeleton. There's no engine. There's nothing inside that car. It's the lightest it could possibly be. It was just a matter of logistics, because the maze pretty much hits all the major beats that the film does.
Well, having seen the one in LA, and I don't know if any of you guys did, and those are all my buddies out there, but I have to say this one rocked it. It was way better.
Thank you.
You guys killed it.
Another question right here.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Where are you?
Good.
Good. Right here.
Hello, hi.
I want to say thank you for having us.
This is awesome. I'm so glad we could do this. This is the coolest like meetup thing I think ever. This is awesome.
And I want to also thank you for the compound idea. This was great.
That's this man right over here, Larry Rhodes, in the red shirt. Right here. That's compound man right there.
My question is kind of to do with next year, being the 25th.
No comment.
Being the 25th year, big milestone. Have been coming for 20 years myself. We've seen a lot of characters over the years. Crypt Keeper. The one that I'm more interested in, maybe some others, maybe Jack.
Who?
Jack?
Who's that?
The clown.
Yes, I know. Yes, I know. Yes, he's awesome.
Is there? Is it a possibility that some of the older characters, like the Crypt Keeper, some of that have been over the years, making a return for the 25th?
No comment.
Just throwing it out there for you.
I appreciate it. You already knew that answer, though. Come on. I can't say a word about 25.
Mr. Charles Gray has a question for you.
No way!
Malek, Season of the Witch, Halloween 3.
Yes.
Was there ever any talks about maybe continuing the idea of non-Michael Myers Halloween stuff, maybe like a TV show type thing or other movies that kind of branched off? Or
we're developing some cool things that will be announced very soon. But the anthology thing that happened with 3, I mean, basically the end of 2, he blew up. I mean, he was gone. And so there was never any idea of bringing him back. They did 3, which, you know, as a standalone film was really cool, but didn't do very well under the Halloween moniker.
No, boo.
8 years later, or 7 years later, my dad, bless his soul, he said, so what, he was blown up, we can bring him back? And everyone thought he was crazy, actually, but that was Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, and we've been going ever since.
Awesome. And I'm going to get greedy and ask one more question. In doing low-budget films, a lot of times there's like happy accidents, or you know, you just run out of time or money or whatever. Was there anything in that movie that made it into the film that was just a happy accident?
Halloween? Well, it's so great to be here representing that one, because I've worked on 6 of them, but this one I was just an 8-year-old kid, kind of a nuisance on set more than anything else. But there are things that aesthetically, you know, you see, like when Michael's walking across the street or down the stairs and it takes forever. They actually, you know, needed a lot of extra footage to make it an 1.5-hour film. So looking back on it, it's kind of like an aesthetic thing. Wow, you know, you're really pacing it. But little things like that were kind of happy accidents. They screened the film without any music for like all the studio heads, and no one got it. It was like, this is a disaster. And then they put the soundtrack in and everyone got it, and that's kind of what happened. But really, in terms of low budget, you know, lucky accidents, I mean, it was really John Carpenter's tour de force. He wrote it, directed it, basically edited it, did the music, did everything, and for nothing, literally. So it's all a tribute to him, really.
All right, I have a question about the house. The scene between the 2 houses where you kind of walk through the laundry, the clotheslines and all that, where did that come from? Because I just watched the movie for the 2nd time and I didn't see that in the movie, so.
Oh, with the clotheslines?
Yes, and like the trick or treat. And...
Yeah, because that's our Halloween 3 homage.
Okay.
Those 2 characters that you see in those sheets are 2 of the masks that are featured in Halloween 3. So really it was, one thing we wanted to make sure we were doing is, which is a little bit of maybe the beginning of Halloween 2, because you know, this film, if you're unaware, this film butts right against Halloween 2. I mean, it literally picks up right where this one leaves off, where Loomis is flying out of the house screaming, "I shot him 6 times, he's gone, he's somewhere in the neighborhood." And then you're back into a POV view of Myers navigating the neighborhood in between the homes. So that being an aesthetic amongst the 2 films, we wanted to make sure we were doing something like that in The Maze.
Sweet. Thank you. We have a question right up front.
This is going to be her, right?
Okay.
How come, even though like I love the house, definitely my favorite, this year, but how come it's in one of the smaller locations instead of one of, you know, the forefront big like sound stages?
Yep, great question, and there's actually thought into that. We make sure that once we know what the slate is, that we're placing the mazes where we feel they'll be most aesthetically pleasing. Knowing that the Halloween maze, right up front, you know, the vision, you know, Charles had and we all had was to make sure that as we engage the guests with Michael Myers, it's at a very close proximity, because we felt that would be one of the few ways we knew this maze was going to work. The camera shots in here are all about tightness, you know, being in the closet, navigating hallways. So we knew early on that we weren't going to need a whole lot of space for this particular maze, knowing that the other mazes we were going to require a lot more. If you look at a ground plan of the tent, it is so compacted in there. I mean, it is literally, we call them houses, but this really is a maze. I mean, it really like, kind of loops in on it to itself. So aesthetically, we just knew guests were going to be very confined, so we realized we wouldn't need as much space, and that's why we chose the tent.
Any other questions?
Another question for Mike.
Where are you?
Over here.
Hello.
How did you choose what was going to be playing on the TV in the Laurie scene?
Oh, that was all Charles. And what's in the movie. I mean, the film that's playing is Thing from Another World. But then, you know, Charles had the idea of, with Halloween 3 being represented, why don't we splice in the commercial, the Shamrock commercial from Halloween 3. So that was all Charles. But,
Charles!
Yeah! And then, but yeah, we thought Thing would be, because like they also watch Forbidden Planet as well in the movie. But we thought, you know, we love Thing as well, so you know, let's make sure Thing is in there.
We have a question from this young gentleman.
Hey guys, my question's for Mike. And when you're designing the house, how much of a concern was seeing multiple Michaels at once? I know, like in the strobe room, that was obviously the intention, but
yeah.
In other rooms, were you concerned about maybe the guests seeing two Michaels at once?
Sure. Yeah. Honestly, the concern for the maze was typically our mazes, usually the more successful mazes that we create, have varied environments and varied characters within those environments. Dollhouse of the Damned being a good example. Scary Tales, those types of mazes where a guest is going into an environment one way and then they enter a new environment that's completely different. They feel like, I guess subliminally, you're getting, you know, you're spending more time with a lot of different things. So that was an initial, you know, challenge that we felt was going to happen with Halloween, that it's aesthetically a very similar maze from, you know, the time you walk in to the time you leave, and the fact that the aggressor is a singular character over and over again. The great thing that Charles did in designing some of the places where Michael would exist was how we were going to affect the guest with Michael. And honestly, sometimes you don't know. You just kind of put it out there, see what happens, and kind of step back and go, is it going to work? And luckily, it has for Halloween. It's the #1 maze we have this year. With it being, you know, a similar residential type environment and an aggressor that is the same throughout. But it's Michael freaking Myers. Yeah. He's scary as hell. And to have him, I think early on we said, you know, as many times as we can possibly get him in the maze, we want to, because we never want the guests to let their guard down. We always want them to have that tension Laurie has when she's going from one house crossing the street to the other, that he could be right behind me at any point. He is anywhere. He is the shape. We want to make sure that we're designing so that left, right, up, and down, you'd never know where he was going to come from.
Any other questions?
We got one down front, right here.
I'm coming right to you, sir.
I'm going to ask him.
Hey guys, this one's for Mike. Actually, it's two questions. What's the biggest challenge this year, like in general?
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that there's a lot more media and behind-the-scenes stuff happening this year than we normally see. Is that, you know, maybe walkthroughs of the house, is that something that's going to come out later? Maybe like behind the screens, DVD-ish kind of thing?
Yeah, no, I don't, not in the plan right now. A lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, we really wanted to key into people of how this event's built and created this year. We haven't done it in a while. You know, really kind of pulled the curtain back and let people kind of see how this thing works. Thanks. Yeah, and a lot of that credit's due to our social and our PR teams. You know, lifting the veil a bit, and because we're always going, no, not yet. You can't see it yet. not yet. And you know, it's been cool. And the biggest challenge this year is the same challenge we have every year, which is what is the slate? That's probably the biggest hurdle we have to try and find an answer to is what is going to be the layout of the event and what brands are we going to offer versus what original content. And within that, you know, what's something that's going to draw people to the park? What are properties that we know horror fans really, really want to see? It's that balance. That's the biggest challenge every year.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think we have one more right here.
All right, well, one
We
more
have a
question.
few more minutes.
Okay.
Q&A.
All right. Before we go into the maze, I know there's a little bit of things like secret things that are hidden because I've seen the Freddy sweater that's hanging up on the lines. So before we go through the maze, can you give us a little hint of some other things that are hidden through, like throughout there?
In the Halloween maze?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. The sweater.
Really?
No. No, our decor team has fun. I guess the one thing that kind of popped up early while we were building the maze was this cat painting. There was. I'm on the Twitter account. That's me posting most of the stuff. Whenever Compound's not, I'm on there doing my thing. And I got a tweet. I wish I could remember who it was, but it basically said in a very forthright. Who is it? Who was it?
It was me.
It was you?
Yeah.
Tim, it was you?
Yeah.
Oh. Tim Tracker. It was him.
Good job, Tim.
Tim posted. This maze is nowhere near authentic unless this cat painting is in the maze. And I saw him like, what is that? And I got with Charles. I'm like, do you know where this is? And we watched the movie and tried to figure out where it was. And it's in the kitchen scene. And it was our quest based on this tweet to make sure it was the most authentic maze we could possibly create. So it's not the exact painting, but it is a cat painting in the maze.
That will actually conclude our Q&A. I'm actually going to hand the microphone over to Larry Rose, our social media manager. But first off, I wanted to say thank you to Malek and Mike.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, man.
Emily, thanks for your dad.
So earlier this year, actually earlier this month, this wonderful 15-disc box set was released. Has everybody seen this?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Every
there was a
night
10-disc. This
at
is
about
15.
8:20.
Contains all of the director's cut editions of the movies, the original movie with the analog soundtrack, the whole deal. So we have one of these for the guys to give away.
Oh, okay.
And the way I think we like, yeah. So I think the way that we like to do this, I have this too.
It's all Mike's fault.
So we heard the guys talk earlier about seeing the pipe for the first time. There's all sorts of little details, right? Like there's this poster in her room that has a certain artist on it. There's a number of different titles of comics that asked her to read. So how about if we take one of your all's just favorite minute details and turn that into a trivia question? And the way we'll do this, we'll have the guys ask a trivia question based on one of their favorite details. I'm going to be eagle eye, looking for a hand to raise, and the first hand that goes up will give you a shot to answer it. And the first winning answer takes home this incredible 15-disc box set that just released.
I got a hard one. Okay, this is a hard one. All right, if you're a diehard fan, you know the answer to this. Nick Castle played the Shape in the film, but he wasn't the Shape in every single scene. There was one scene where Deborah Hill played the Shape.
That was right here?
The first hand was right here. What scene is it?
In the kitchen in the very beginning.
In the kitchen?
In the very beginning.
In the very beginning?
There's a little Michael Myers hand.
You're right. There's two. There's two, actually. Do you know the second one? You already won. You got it. You got it. What, do you know the second one?
No.
But he already got the set. If you want the glory of knowing the second one, that's all for you. All right, so where's the second one?
It's when Laurie's looking out the school window behind the car. It's a lot shorter than the other shape.
No, it's not there. No. It is someone looking out a window, though. It is someone looking out a window.
So she's looking out the window across the street.
It's not her.
Get in there, girls.
Tommy looking out the window to see the shadow of the shape across. That is played by Deborah Hill. All right, but your hand was up first. You said her hand at the beginning. Congratulations.
Okay, so that concludes the movie screening, and what we're going to do is we're going to proceed to take some shuttle buses so that everybody can experience the Halloween Haunted Maze here at Halloween Horror Nights 24.